Hey, Virgo, Mel, Intuitive Coach here. Excited to bring in your quarterly reading for October, November, and December. All right, Virgo, let's open up your energy field and take a look at what the next few months have in store for you. Bottom of the deck, you have time to go. This reminds me of the Eight of Cups. It is about you cutting ties, moving on, walking away from a person, place, or thing because it has served its purpose. You no longer vibe with the energy. You are ready for something deeper, something that brings in more meaning, more expansion. This isn't something that you want to stay in because it limits you in some way. And the Eight of Cups is about reconnecting to your joy, reconnecting to your heart center. Bottom of the deck, you have the Chariot. There is a huge turning point coming through here for you. The Chariot represents victory. Virgo, this is about your goals. It is about your emotional drive, moving you forward. And so I see that momentum is picking up here, meaning you are embarking upon this path of opening up the door to new beginnings. And I see here the Fool showing up. So there is a huge turning point that is landing you into a brand new energy that you have never explored before. So this is quite exciting. Now, number 45 is showing up here. Some of you may be 45 years old. 4, 5 could be a number sequence in your telephone number or your home address. But I am getting here with this Eight of Cups. This is about, a new path ahead. And you can see that she's not looking back. She has her vision set to what's ahead of her. It's like the windshield. You are looking out the windshield. You're not staring in the rear view mirror, constantly worrying or looking at what's behind you. And I feel like that has taken you a while to not focus here on something that may have been difficult or it was challenging for you to go through. Therefore, you may have been looking in that rear view mirror wondering, is this going to come back up? Or, do I have more work to do? Or do I have to, how do I get closure on this situation? Or how can I fully embody this new beginning? So I feel like you were reflecting for quite some time, but you are ready for more peace. You actually have the peace card at the bottom here with time to go, because this is what you want to move into. You don't want to keep going around that revolving door, because that revolving door has left you feeling isolated. It's left you feeling left out in the cold in some way. You have here the orphaned energy. In the month of October, it feels like you are liberating yourself. There is a wound that you have suffered, and the wound has to do with abandonment, perhaps rejection, or taking a look at the parts of yourself that sometimes we don't always want to look at, because those pieces can be very, very hard to look at. It can be our shadow side. It can be the wounded parts that we tend to turn a blind eye to. And we all do this from time to time, because sometimes those emotions or those feelings are quite heavy and it can leave us feeling a bit disconnected. But I have a feeling October is bringing in this reconnection to self. Your clarifiers here, you have the Page of Swords, you have the Queen of Wands, and you have Judgment. This tells me that you were under a lot of scrutiny here, micromanagement, or you were your own worst critic, right? We can all be our own worst critic. We are harder on ourselves than we need to be. And the Page of Swords, it feels like the eye is on you. And I see that this is either feeling judged by other people, or it could be harsh judgments upon yourself. And the Page of Swords is a childhood wound. Pages can represent the child within us. It can represent our behaviors and emotions that aren't quite evolved, or they are conditioned based on very early memories. And the orphan is showing up here as a wound, Virgo, that you may have outgrown, you may have worked through this, you may have released judgments or criticisms here in some way, but I feel like you've had to work through a lot of these insecurities, because the Page of Swords is the private investigator, right? He's always in search of, new ways to discover, what is best, or discovering ways to increase his success, or ways to learn more about the world around him, maybe even through the use of technology. Some of you may be looking to the internet to find some answers. Perhaps you are reading books. I feel like you are wanting to learn. Your mind is like a sponge, and you have taken accountability as an adult to work on healing some of these wounded aspects of oneself. I would even look into your Chiron, wherever Chiron is in your chart. That could be part of this wound. And the Queen of Wands tells me that you are starting to gain confidence here. You're starting to rebuild this sense of self. And you may have gone through a period that was very dark, that was very shadowed, and your confidence had taken a hit or two. And I feel like you are opening yourself up to taking a risk, taking a spontaneous risk here, because your confidence is returning. You are starting to feel more excited because you're birthing something new into the world. You can see here that she does have a pregnant belly. I don't often see the Queen of Wands as pregnant, but she is in this deck. So this tells me that not only are you fiercely independent, but whatever you are birthing, you got this. Now, I'm also getting a message here of maybe a single mom or a single parent. Some of you could be single parents, or there may be this sense of independence where you've had to break out of a cycle. You've had to break out of something that had felt maybe it was a family wound, or it's been, a pattern that is played out. And maybe this is a sibling energy. It could be that you've left home early to, pursue your own dreams, your own path. But I'm also feeling here with this Queen of Wands, you are a natural leader, Virgo. You are someone who's highly creative, highly artistic. You're very sharp with the mind. And I also see that you're protective of whatever it is that you are birthing into existence. You have this fierce mother protection that's coming through, female or male, it doesn't matter, but it does feel like you are protecting something with this fire within you. It could be a business that you are protecting. It could be your own family. It could be your health. I feel like you are someone who's great at multitasking. You're also someone who has the gift of maybe being able to communicate with others, even though you need your own space to decompress. I do see here, Virgo, that you could benefit from bringing more spontaneity into your world, because sometimes earth signs can become very structured, very routined, and it can be difficult to sometimes break out of that routine, especially if it's unhealthy. And I see here that in the coming months, you are asked to step out of your comfort zone and release the fear of persecution, release the fear of judgments, shame, criticism. It feels like those are some energies that you have carried, maybe even subconsciously, with that Page of Swords. And it's that voice in your head that you may not even realize plays out. But if you observe this voice for a week, you may notice that there may be some some harsh judgments that are being brought up. And I see that that keeps you feeling disconnected, and you're liberating yourself from this. You have the Judgment energy here. Now, Judgment is a spiritual rebirth. It is about awareness. So the good news is you are aware of this wound that exists within you. And I also feel like you may have attracted other individuals who have also carried the wound here of the orphan, feeling left out, or maybe you have had a similar path as, you know, a friend of yours, or you find that you've bonded over trauma, right? I think they call that trauma bonds. And I see that some of you are ready to free yourself from this. You're ready to liberate yourself with the Judgment. This is a rebirth. You have been going through the emotions here. You've been going through the trials and the tribulations, and I really feel like you are letting something go, like once and for all. This is about pushing through the fears and facing what you need to face in order to fully release without judgment. This is the energy of forgiveness. And I am getting the Ho'oponopono prayer showing up here. So some of you could be working with that prayer. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I forget what the other one is, but look that up. Some of you are connecting with the energy of self-love. It feels like you are wrapping yourself up with this tender embrace, and you're moving forward, and you're taking your inner child with, and you're saying, I love you. I am going to nurture you. I will never abandon. I will never leave you. Because some of you may have even been dealing with parts of yourself that you avoided, right? We've all been avoidant at certain times of our lives. And, you know, we have numbed, or we have drank, or we have shopped, or we have, you know, tried to fill that void with external things because we didn't want to deal with it. That is avoidance. And I see here that you have this second chance to embrace this inner happiness, to work with your nervous system, and to embrace and reparent your own inner child in some way. Now, I'm also getting here with this Page of Swords. Some of you could have a child here who, I mean, maybe this is an only child. Someone could be adopted. Someone may have like a step sibling, or it just feels like there could be a child that's feeling a bit isolated at this time, and you may be trying something new with this child, or this child could be stepping out of their comfort zone, and maybe you're trying, I'm getting jiu-jitsu, is that how you say it? Jiu-jitsu, or like karate, or this could be some sort of like martial arts that's coming up here as well. That could be beneficial. Maybe some of you have adult children, and you may have, you know, maybe you're dealing with helping someone feel more confident, or you're helping someone go through a period where they are under scrutiny here. But I like the Judgment coming in, because it feels like there is a judgment day coming up in October. Maybe it's not a day per se. It certainly could be, but it feels like this is more of an awakening where you're saying, wait a second, why am I still letting the past? Why am I still looking at the rear view mirror when I have a whole windshield ahead? And you're recognizing that you are connected to all of life, that you are loved, and that, you know, any illusions of separation are based on, you know, conditionings and experiences that you've gone through that have had you feeling separate. And I feel like you are working through those energies in October. Now, come November, this is where things get sweeter, right? This is where you are saying to yourself, yes, this is the type of life that I want to have for myself. You have Milk and Honey, number 51. Some of you may be 51 years old. We also have 5 here. You could be born on the 5th or even the 10th. So interestingly enough, we have 5s and 10s showing up, or 5s and 1s, I should say. 5 and 5 equals 10. We have the 5 and the 1 here. So 5s are about change. They're about travel, uncertainty, and even obstacles. But the 1 represents new beginnings. And I feel like you are overcoming here an obstacle, and you are moving towards something that feels lighter, something that feels brighter. And we have here in your energy, we have the Fool, we have the Ace of Cups, there's another 1, and we have the 4 of Swords. This is a month of rest, restoration, rest and retreat. Some of you could be traveling here in the month of November. You may be meeting new individuals, because the Ace of Cups is, the gift of love. This could be a new spark, a new connection that shows up for you that really allows those heartstrings to feel, activated, where the flow is entering into your heart center. This is about curiosity. It is about positivity and hope. I feel like there is a lot of emotional fulfillment coming through for you, Virgo, in the month of November. So this could be, focusing on something here that really brings a lot of joy and pleasure and happiness into your life. Some of you, this could even be like a grandchild. It could be your baby, like your career. Maybe you have this project that you're working on, or it could be your spiritual studies. It feels like it's your baby. That's what I'm getting. It may be because that Queen of Wands, she's giving birth, giving life to something, but there could be something very fresh. Maybe baby is someone's nickname as well. Maybe someone calls you baby. But I am getting here a really beautiful resting time where you're not overworking here in the month of November. It feels like you are allowing self-care to be your primary focus. It feels like some of you could even go on a retreat. This could be a yoga retreat, a wellness retreat, a writer's retreat. Perhaps it's a silent retreat even. You could be visiting the ocean or a place where there are seashells. I see the ocean showing up here in 2 of the cards. I see the clouds. So some of you are flying to a destination, maybe flying over an ocean here. But you are rising. You are spreading your wings here with the Fool. And I feel like this is that leap of faith that you are taking, and you're opening your heart up to self-discovery. And for those of you that may be traveling, or you are opening up to a new career path, or this is a passion project that is created because it's something that you love, it's something that intuitively has called out to you, I feel like this is the beginning of the rest of your life. It feels like this is quite profound, and you are moving into not only the potential here of something that feels like it actually calms your nervous system. Now we have the autonomic nervous system, which has the 2 branches, right? The parasympathetic, which is our rest and digest. That's what's showing up here with the 4 of Swords. And then we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight. And for some of you, the wound here of the orphan had stirred up that fight or flight within you, maybe even causing adrenal fatigue. Some of you, it had disrupted your sleep cycles. It may have even caused like brain fog. It could have caused digestion issues, and even sensitivities to certain energies, certain foods, and even autoimmune is what I'm getting here. So some of you may even be doing some research with that Page of Swords. I feel like you could be studying the mind or studying psychology here. I'm even getting the vagus nerve, which connects from the brainstem all the way down to the abdomen, the gut center, and it really holds a lot of energy. And some of you may have done some work on the vagus nerve, because I am getting here reducing maybe inflammation, or, working on the body, the energies of the body. It feels like you're sleeping better. It feels like you're understanding here the flows, the portals of energies that are showing up for you, or your energy centers. Some of you are learning about not only your body, but you could be learning more in order to help others, because by helping others, you actually help yourself. So there's something beautiful happening. And for those of you that may be single and looking for love, I mean, there is love rising up. And this could even be a really powerful honeymoon period where you get to know someone on a deeper, more spiritual level. Now in career, I just feel really good about this. If you are, opening yourself up to a new beginning, you are taking that leap of faith, and it feels like there's emotional fulfillment coming in and renewal, potentially after a period where things have maybe been a bit slower, or you've needed to take some time off. It feels like you're coming back rejuvenated, and you're full of ideas. You're full of, this refreshed energy. You're ready to start again here, because that time out was just what you needed. So it looks like November is a very solid, beautiful month, possibly one of the best months of 2025 for you, Virgo. Now, moving into December, we have some patterns or some unfinished business, or even some old wounds or some old triggers that are trying to resurface here. But the good news is there is a shift that's happening where you may be responding to this incoming energy, because it does feel like it comes in maybe suddenly or unexpectedly. Let me just look at your clarifiers. Okay, yeah. But you have the King of Cups. You have the Nine of Cups and the Death card here. So yeah, this tells me that you are responding in a different way. So if anything unfinished shows up, I feel like you are stopping it in its tracks, and you're saying, whoa, wait a second. I recognize this pattern within me. I recognize that I could easily fall back into default mode. Old triggers, old wounds, old insecurities, old relationships, right? But there's something about the death energy that tells me that you have transitioned out of this cycle. You have grown. You see that the death energy is represented by the baby, because we are all, we all come into this life taking our first breath in the earthly plane, and we leave this earthly plane taking our last breath. And you realize that the soul is eternal, and that everything has its season. Everything transforms. And as Einstein says, energy can never die. It is just transmuted into a different form. And that's what I see here is you are no longer the same Virgo that you were, in the past. You are no longer that maybe scared little girl or little boy that you once were. Or maybe even that young adult in that relationship, or even a year ago, there may have been a part of you that was scared to move on. And I see that, you can be scared at 8 years old, you can be scared at 80 years old. But the difference is you continue evolving, you continue growing and trying new things. And I see here that you get to stop the pattern here. You get to recognize it through conscious awareness. And then when you are aware, you get to interrupt the pattern, and you get to say, wait a second, I get to stop this. Now, another message that's coming through here is December could hold some sort of heavy energy regarding the loss of a loved one. Someone who has crossed over. Maybe December was the month that they had crossed, or perhaps it's difficult because December can be holiday time. And I feel like there is a bittersweet energy that's showing up here, where someone has gone home, right? Time to go. And I see that you are feeling like there's finally a completion, like someone is at rest, or maybe you're able to forgive this individual, or you've been working through some of these energies of maybe some sort of grieving that you have gone through. And I'm also getting releasing shame. Some of you may feel like I wish I could have done more, or I wish I would have been there. It feels like there's something that you are releasing, and it feels like you're releasing it for good. Okay. And even if it is a loved one, you're not releasing them for good. You're releasing some sort of heavy burden that, has created a bit of a block when it comes to connecting with yourself. It's had you feeling like an orphan, but you're realizing that you are connected here, that you're not alone, and that this death and rebirth process is showing up here to remind you of the processes, of the cycles here. And there could even be someone new entering and someone old leaving. All right. It feels like there's a crossing. So for example, sometimes I've heard of like a grandfather crossing and then a month later, a new baby being born. So it feels like there could be, for some of you, like that threshold of someone exiting and someone entering, maybe in the physical realm in that way, as I've just given that example. But it could also mean, closing the door to an old employment and stepping into something new. So it does feel like there is a cycle that is closing out for you, getting ready to move into 2026. Now, I absolutely love here for you the Nine of Cups and the King of Cups. King of Cups could be someone that you are manifesting, someone that is entering into your world. It can also be that you have this wish, and I'm getting with the cake, the saying, you can have your cake and eat it too. It feels like this is the cherry on the top. It feels like there is celebration here. You get to indulge. I'm also getting here recipes, something with like a recipe book, or it could even be handwritten recipes, and I'm seeing like the stains or the splatters of milk or sugar or flour. Someone could be doing a lot of baking. I know people do baking around the holiday times, but maybe there is something significant here about, writing or about a recipe. And I'm also seeing here the dream weaver showing up with the King of Cups. So it feels like your dreams are starting to really manifest. And December is a huge month of release of the old to make way for new, because 2026 for you, Virgo, is a big year. Now, it may have been a little bit hairy for you in 2025 because your energy collectively has been in the South node. Pisces has been in the North node. Virgo, you have been in the South node, which actually has conjured up some of your fears, some of your insecurities, and some of your wounds, right? But it feels like this is a time where you've been doing a lot of work here in 2025, and 2026, we shift into new nodal energies, meaning you're not in the hot seat anymore, especially when it comes to karma and South node energies, which can be our karma. It can be past life energy or lessons that have gone either, I don't want to say unfulfilled, but it can still be things that we're learning or things that we lean into because they feel familiar, and you are meant to expand. That's what the Fool is bringing up for you. And it feels like 2026, there is a big dream, and it's starting to show up here towards Q4, the end of the year, where you're starting to see the evidence of your dreams becoming real. And I do feel like there is a big celebration here. It feels like there are loose ends that are being tied up with the unfinished symphony, and it just feels like you have the ability to not repeat the same thing. Like if you've had the same December for the past few years, or if maybe you've been going to the same house, or there's been the same tradition here. Some of you, yes, you may love a tradition and you may be keeping it, but it feels like you're also breaking away and moving towards maybe a new tradition, something that it feels more uplifting, or it feels like it brings in more peace, it brings in more joy. So I like this energy. I don't feel like you are taking the old into the new year. It just feels like you're doing a lot of work to kind of wrap it up, to close it up, and anything that you need to get done, I feel like you are getting it done in the nick of time, in the nick, okay? Nick, maybe Nick, well, Saint Nick, but maybe Nicholas or the name Nick means something to you. All right, maybe Nick is in someone's name. I'm getting like Nicholson. All right, so you could have the name Nick in like a last name or in a street name. So take that as it resonates. Now, last but not least here, we are going to get a few quotes for you. So Virgo, if you would like to be entered into the free monthly reading giveaway where I draw one winner around the first of the month, all you need to do is post in the comment section below your favorite saying, quote, affirmation, or perhaps words of wisdom that your grandmother had given you or shared with you, something that inspires you. Drop it in the comment section below. And if you can't think of anything, I am about to share 4 quotes, and if one stands out to you, drop it in the comment section. I will enter you into the giveaway. All right, Virgo. Nelson Mandela reminds you that the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. So the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. And this is reminding you that every time life knocks you down, you get up again. All right, a little bit of Chumbawamba. So when life knocks you down, you get up again. And I feel like you've had to get up quite a few times because you've gotten knocked down quite a few times, Virgo, but you're not a quitter. And this year, even though it may have come with a lot of twists and turns, I feel like you should be proud of yourself. You absolutely should pat yourself in the back because you have come a long way. And for those of you that have felt isolated, perhaps you have felt a bit lonely, a bit withdrawn. Maybe you've even gone through some depressive spells. It feels like you are finding ways to find that peace and that joy within, and it is being reflected into your outer world, meaning you are connecting and collaborating with others and sparking up new emotional experiences with others as well. Next, you have this life, this night, your story, your pain, your hope. It matters. All of it matters. You matter, Virgo. Don't let anyone tell you differently. All right? Don't let anyone tell you that you don't matter. Because your story, your pain, all of it, it could be the biggest story that you share with others in some way that inspires the next person. You could be the catalyst in, helping your bloodline, helping your family, helping your clients, helping your children, helping a stranger. It feels like you are inspiring and you may not even realize it. Next, you have Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of my favorites. Live in the sunshine, swim the sea, drink the wild air. I'm getting tea, okay? I'm getting tea, the tiny little teacups, the finger up in the air, and like biscuits, tea and biscuits. Now, I don't say that. Is that in a different country where people have like tea and biscuits? But it's actually like a cookie. It looks like a hard cookie, and dipping it in the tea. I don't know if this is like a certain ceremony, but I feel like someone is a tea drinker here, maybe even someone that's crossed over, love to drink their tea. I'm getting kind of like a France energy. I don't know if France is connected to the tea or tea time. Some of you could be visiting France, or perhaps you are, going overseas, or maybe you live over there. I'm getting this European vibe. Maybe there's a European vacation coming up for you. And I'm also getting here, living in more sunshine. The sun in tarot is about happiness, living in more confidence, more warmth, more playfulness, and also vitamin D. Some of you may benefit from soaking up that vitamin D. And lastly here, in case you have not been adequately informed, please consider this your official notification. You are awesome. You are awesome. Tell that to someone today. I challenge you to, to bring in a compliment. Give someone a compliment, a complete stranger, because we need more of that kindness. It is important to spread love. It is important for us to remember that humanity is good. Yes, we are shown, we are highlighted the negative, the challenges, the parts in the world that we struggle to sometimes believe in humanity, right? That's why you shouldn't just focus on the news. I wish we had a news channel that focused clearly on positive movements, positive acts of kindness, of service. Does that exist, you guys? Have you heard of like a news channel? I mean, I don't watch the news, and I try to focus on positivity, but I'm also not a hermit. I don't live under a rock. I know what goes on to the extent, but I don't fixate on it. But wouldn't it be amazing if we had some sort of, outlet? And in a way, these tarot channels, right? Don't they do that in a way? They kind of inspire. I mean, there's some channels that definitely can bring some doom and gloom, but I feel like life is not all happy. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. We're going to have those low pit moments of our lives, but like your reminder says here, you're going to get up. You're going to get up here, and it's the rising every time we fall, right? Thanks, Nelson Mandela. So that's what I see here is you bringing in hope, you being inspired to start again, if that's something you are guided to do, or to shift perspectives here, to see through the eyes of magic, to see through the eyes of discovery, to see through the eyes of that fool, because this is the eyes of curiosity. Because sometimes as we grow into that king or queen or emperor or empress status, we have our ways set in stone. We do things a certain way. We behave a certain way. We've been conditioned time and time again. And I was just watching a show the other day, and the show, I forget what the name of it was, but basically it was this teenager, this young 18-year-old girl, and it was her future self. And they come together, and her future self is trying to warn her about, people not to see, not to date. She's saying, stay away from this boy, like stay away. And the 18-year-old self can't help but falling in love. And, when they come together, I don't want to spoil it. Maybe you've already watched it, but when they come together, she realizes that she doesn't want to miss out on love. She doesn't really want to, even though she does know the ending, it is not going to deter her from learning and experiencing what she is here on earth supposed to experience. And that's what I feel happening for you. You are not going to miss out on the joys, but there's also pain. And in order to have some of the biggest joys, yes, you're going to feel some of the biggest challenges as well. But when we segregate ourselves, or when we disconnect from the world and we do hide under a rock, right, we can miss out on some of the opportunities to bring in love and expansion, but also that comes with vulnerability. It comes with a sense of openness. And I feel like you are being asked to move towards your 9 of Cups. I think I mentioned this in the beginning. This is my 8 of Cups energy. And you actually have, you have the 9 of Cups showing up here. So Virgo, I will stop talking now. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. Please do drop your favorite quotes or sayings in the comment section below, and feel free to read other people's comments. Last time I did the quarterlies, I also prompted you guys to drop in your favorite quotes, and some of those quotes have really stuck with me, and I have carried into my everyday affirmations, and they have brought in so much inspiration. So feel free to check out others. Please do drop it below. I love reading your comments. And if you are interested in a personal reading or signing up for the monthly newsletter, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video.